Hi everybody! I thought I'd just make a quick video to show you how you could draw a little pilgrim boy or a little pilgrim girl if you would want to. I'm not going to go back into how to do the crayon and the watercolor portion because that was all explained in the little Native American girl and boy drawing, but I will show you how to draw the girl and the boy quickly in this video. So you're going to need a piece of white paper from your drawing pad or a piece of copy paper, and you'll need your pencil and an eraser. And let's get started. The first step to drawing our little pilgrim boy is drawing the hat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line across our paper, making sure we leave enough room below the line for his head and his body and enough room above the line for his hat. And we're going to just draw a line making the bottom brim of his hat. So I'll show you here quickly. Again, I have pre-drawn the little boy on my paper, so you'll see some faint lines, but I will outline the lines we are drawing at the moment, step by step. So we're just going to draw the bottom line for his hat, and then we're going to turn this line into a rectangle. So as you can see, the brim of his hat is basically just a long rectangle. So we're just going to draw some vertical lines going up at the ends of that line we just drew, and then connect them with a line going across, forming a rectangle. So you should have something that looks like this, a long rectangle going across your paper. The next step is we're going to draw the top of his hat. So again, we're just going to draw another rectangle. And we're just going to make this rectangle bigger so it looks like it's the top of his hat. And we're just going to try to center this rectangle in the middle of the long rectangle we just made for the brim of his hat. So you can just eye it. So you should have something that looks like this. And then, as you can see here, we're going to draw the little belt that goes around his hat. So we're just going to draw another rectangle by just drawing a line across the rectangle we just drew for the top of his hat. And so you should have something that looks like this. And then we're just going to finish it off with a buckle by drawing two vertical lines going up and down in the center of the belt we just drew. And then after you draw those two vertical lines, you're just going to draw a rectangle inside of the buckle you just made. And now you should have your pilgrim's hat. Now we're going to draw our little pilgrim boy's head. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom of our hat, and we're just going to make a big letter U to make his head. And as you can see, I just made a big letter U. And then we're going to make his neck. You're just going to draw two vertical lines going up and down, and you're just going to try to center his neck at the bottom of his head. So you should have something that looks like this. And then you're going to connect those two vertical lines with a smiley face to finish off his neck. Once you have his neck drawn, we're just going to go up here at the bottom of his neck here, and we're going to just draw some slanted lines going down to the edge of our paper. And we're going to do that on both sides to create his shoulders. And now you should have a hat, a head, a neck, and his shoulders. The next step is giving your little boy a face. Now, as you can see here, I just drew two little circles for his eyes, a straight line, a little straight vertical line going down between his eyes, and then finishing it off with a letter C or a partial circle for his nose. And then I just gave him a nice smiley face. I just put a little line down here to represent his chin, and then I also gave him a little some little eyebrows above his eyes too. So you're welcome to do a face similar to mine, or you can draw your own face if you have another idea of what you want to give your little boy. So go ahead and give your little pilgrim boy a face. Now that our little boy has a face, we're going to give him some hair. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here at the bottom of our hat, somewhere towards the center of his head, and we're going to just make a curved line going all the way out to the side of his head. And then we're going to just bring it up and connect it back to the hat. So you should have something that looks similar to this. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, once you have those lines drawn for his hair, you want to go in and you're going to want to erase these lines that we originally drew for his head, because we don't want to see those. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a couple more curved lines inside his hair to just make it look like he has some strands coming out from under his hat. So you should have something that looks similar to this. Once you have his hair drawn, you can now give him some ears. To give your pilgrim boy some ears, all you have to do is go here at the bottom of your hair, and you're just going to draw some curved lines connecting his hair to his head. And again, we're just showing the bottom of his ears. So I'm basically just drawing some little smiley faces from his hair to the side of his head. And you should have something that looks like this. After you draw the ears, if you want to put some hair behind his ears, you can just go down below the ears and just make a couple letter V's to just represent that there's a little bit of hair sticking out from behind his ears. So again, I'm just making a couple small letter V's, starting at his ear and then going back and meeting his head, and then making another little letter V below that. And that can resemble that there's some hair hanging below his ears. Now the final step to drawing our pilgrim boy is finishing off his shirt. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give him a collar. And all I did here was I found the center point, or I just kind of eyed the center point of the bottom part of his neck right here. And I drew a slanted line going down both directions. So I'm basically drawing a wide upside down letter V. Like this. And then I just connected this line to the top of his shoulder with another slanted line going inward. So now your little boy should have a collar. And then I made it appear to make it look like he was wearing a little black vest. So in order to make it look like he has a vest on, I just came under his collar right here and I just made the letter V. So you should have something that looks like this. And then I just drew a line, a vertical line straight down through the middle of my V, connecting the center of his neck to the center of that V. And then after I had this portion drawn, I came over to the edges of his shoulder and I just drew some little curved lines going inward to represent the edge of his vest. And now you should have your little pilgrim boy. Now we're going to draw our little pilgrim girl. The first step to drawing our little girl is we're going to make a big upside down letter V in the middle of our paper. We're going to draw the brim of her hat. We just want to make sure we keep enough room at the top to make the top of her hat. Now I'm going to be using crayon for this. I was a little concerned maybe the pencil wasn't showing up well enough. I hope you guys could see that okay, but make sure you're using your pencil at this point. So I'm just going to make a big upside down letter V. In the center of my paper like this. Now I'm going to start at the bottom of my lines I just drew, and I'm going to draw some slanted lines going up, upward and out to create the side of her brim. So we're drawing these lines right here. So I'm going to go up and out. So you should have something that looks like this. Now we're going to connect the top point of this line to the top center of our V. So I'm just going to draw a line straight across to connect these 2 points, and I'm going to I'm going to do it to both sides. And now you should have the brim of her little hat. Now we're going to draw the top of her hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to just draw 2 slanted lines up, going inward to create the sides of the top of her hat. So you should have something that looks like that. And then we're going to just draw a line connecting the top of these two lines that we just drew to make the top of her hat. And now you should have your little girl's hat. The next step is drawing her head. So we're going to do what we did for the Pilgrim boy. We're going to come here to the bottom of her hat at the bottom of the brim on the inside, and we're going to draw a big letter U to make the bottom of her head. And now you should have her head. And now we're going to go ahead and give her a neck by drawing two vertical lines going up and down, and we're going to try to just center that at the bottom of her head. And then we're going to connect these two vertical lines with a smiley face to complete her neck. After we have her neck completed, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start at the corners of the bottom of our neck, and we're going to just draw some slanted lines going down towards the edge of our page to create her shoulders. And we'll do that on both sides. And now you should have the basic shape of your little Pilgrim girl. Our next step is to give our little Pilgrim girl a face. Now I just gave her the same face I gave my Pilgrim boy. Again, I just drew two little circles for eyes, a little line with the letter C at the bottom of it for a nose, and then I gave her a smiley face. And then I'm going to give her a couple eyelashes off her eyes to make her look like a little girl. So I'm just going to draw two little short lines coming off the corner of her eyes. And then I'm going to go ahead and just give her a couple little eyebrows above her eyes as well. And now she has a little face. Now we're going to give her some hair. And we're going to start here at the top of her head, and we are going to make a curved line going across her forehead to make it look like she has some hair going across her forehead. So I'm just going to start at one side of my hat, and I'm just going to draw a curved line like a smiley face swooping down across her forehead. And then I'm going to draw a couple more curved lines within her hair to make it look like she has some strands of hair. So you should have something that looks similar to this. Now we're going to come down and make it look like she has some hair behind her head that's hanging out from below her hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to just draw some more letter V's. So we're going to start here at the bottom of the brim of her hat, and we're going to draw a slanted line going outwards, and then we're going to draw another line going in to connect her hair to her head. So basically you're just making a sidewards letter V. And we're going to do that on both sides. And then we're going to go inside of her hair here, and we're going to just draw a couple curved lines from the point of her hair up to her head, again, to make it resemble like it's strands of hair. And now your little girl has some hair. Now, if you want to give your little girl some ears, all you have to do is come up here and just draw a couple smiley faces between the brim of her hat and her head. And those can just show like it's the bottom of her ears. Now, you don't have to give her ears. You can just pretend that her hair is hanging over her ears if you don't have enough room, depending how your hat and your head are drawn. But that's an idea of how you can give her some ears if you want to. Now, to finish off our little Pilgrim girl, we are going to give her a little collar on her dress. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the center point of the bottom of her neck. You can just eye it, and we're going to make two big smiley faces connecting the neck to the top of her shoulder. So you should have something that looks similar to this. And then we're going to find the center point of the neck where the collar meets, and we're just going to draw a straight line going down to the bottom of the page. And there you have her little dress. And that is the completion of your little Pilgrim girl. I hope you guys enjoyed drawing your little Pilgrim girl or Pilgrim boy. Now again, if you want to finish this off like we did with the Native American girl and boy, you can trace it with your crayons and then paint it in with your watercolor. That's all explained in that video when we drew the Native American girl and boy. Or you could just color this in with your colored pencils or your markers or your crayons and finish it off that way too. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and Lord willing, I'll see you in next month's video. Bye!